Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt small, even though you know you have enormous potential within you? Have you ever had that feeling that no matter how hard you try, something is always missing, as if your confidence is slipping through your fingers? If so, you're not alone. The truth is that self-confidence isn't lost all at once. It's sabotaged little by silent habits that we repeat without realizing it. The most curious thing? Many of these habits seem harmless. Some are even seen as natural in everyday life. But little by little, they erode your courage, fuel procrastination, spark your fear of failure, and make you seek validation in the wrong places. And before you know it, you're stuck, questioning everything and compare yourself to everyone else. But what if I told you that changing this is completely possible and that it starts with awareness? We're not talking about magic formulas or ready-made motivational phrases. We're talking about clarity, discipline, and consistency. It all starts with identifying the invisible enemies that are undermining your confidence. In this content, we will dive deep into the 5 most dangerous habits for your self-confidence. Some will surprise you, others you may already know, but have never stopped to face head-on. In each point, in addition to powerful examples, you will receive practical guidance to transform these patterns day after day. So get ready, grab a pen and paper, save this video, and subscribe to the channel. Because what you will learn here could be the turning point for your personal growth and unshakable confidence. Imagine creating something brilliant, putting your soul into every detail and still being ignored, criticized, or even ridiculed. That's how Vincent van Gogh lived. In 1889, isolated in an asylum and rejected by the art world, he painted the iconic Starry Night. No applause, no likes, no external validation, just him, the ink, and his inner conviction. His confidence didn't come from outside. It came from within, from the courage to keep going even when no one saw value in what he was doing. It's funny to think about this in the age of social media, isn't it? Nowadays, a post with just a few likes can shake our self-confidence. But Van Gogh kept going, even without any recognition. This shows us a hard truth. If our confidence depends on the opinion of others, it will never be solid. When we seek true personal growth, we need emotional discipline to sustain our journey with or without an audience. True self-confidence is not born from the certainty that we will be accepted, but from the decision to continue despite doubts. Van Gogh did not paint expecting applause. He painted because it was what his heart asked. This is the essence of consistency, doing what needs to be done even when the reward seems non-existent. How many times have you stopped taking action because you were afraid of not being validated? How many ideas have died inside you because you lack courage? This is where the difference between those who move forward and those who hold back lies. A former create, even when insecure. The latter wait to feel confident before taking action, but this feeling rarely comes on its own. Fear of failure, self-criticism, and constant comparison are always lurking around. The way out is action. Confidence is not found, it is built, and it is born the moment you act with clarity, even when you are afraid. If you're waiting for the perfect moment or someone else's approval to start, stop now. The best time is now, and the best sign that you're on the right path is your own conviction. Start small. Start with doubt, but start. Confidence grows as you practice consistency, not as you seek validation. Van Gogh sold almost nothing in his lifetime, but today, the whole world recognizes his genius. Imagine if he had stopped. Comparison is treacherous. It starts with a simple glance at social media, and before you know it, you're already questioning your own worth. So-and-so has more followers. So-and-so seems happier. The other one has made it. And you, sitting there with the feeling that you're falling behind. This silent habit fuels self-criticism, undermines confidence, and sabotages your personal growth. And the worst part, we often compare the stage of others with the backstage of our own lives. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has said that he felt intimidated backstage at WWE, surrounded by more experienced giants. At the beginning of his career, he was always comparing himself, thinking he wasn't good enough. But his turning point came when he decided to stop trying to be like everyone else. He started focusing on his own habits, discipline, and consistency. The result? He created a unique style and became one of the most admired figures in the world. The problem with comparison is that it distances us from who we are. Instead of developing our talents, we try to copy the paths of others. But confidence doesn't flourish in the realm of imitation. It's born from authenticity, from the courage to follow your own path, stumbling, adjusting, and starting over. When you constantly compare yourself, you end up believing that you're always behind, and this fuels procrastination, fear of failure, and an addiction to external validation. Want a practical exercise? The next time you feel jealous or inferior when you see someone better than you, take a deep breath and turn that into inspiration. Ask yourself, what does this person teach me about what I can also build? Then return to your plan, to your goals. Comparison is only useful when it becomes fuel for progress, not when it becomes an emotional anchor. Replace competition with commitment to your own evolution. Remember, everyone is at a different point in their journey. What seems like overnight success is often a result of years of consistency and discipline behind the scenes. Instead of measuring your life by someone else's yardstick, create your own. Small advances, when accumulated, generate big transformations. Confidence doesn't come from beating others, but from respecting your own pace and celebrating each step of your journey. You know that voice inside your head that whispers you're not good enough? It may seem harmless at first, but it's like a leaky faucet. Little by little, it floods everything. This negative internal dialogue silently erodes self-confidence. And the worst part? Many people don't even realize that they're sabotaging themselves on a daily basis. The way you talk to yourself shapes your emotions, your actions, and even your habits. It's your narrative that builds or destroys your confidence. Do phrases like "I always make mistakes," "I never get anything done," or "I'm not like everyone else" sound familiar? These statements, when repeated often enough, become inner truths. This is exactly what Oprah Winfrey faced early in her career. She grew up hearing that she wasn't good enough, that she didn't fit the mold. But instead of giving in to self-criticism, she decided to rewrite her own story. She replaced self-doubt with belief and built a career based on authenticity and inner strength. The good news? You can change that voice too, but it takes awareness and practice. The first step is to identify your sabotaging thoughts and name them. The second is to replace them with phrases that fuel your self-confidence. It's not about repeating empty mantras, but about creating a mental environment that fosters personal growth. A simple example swap, "I'm a failure," for "I'm learning." It may seem small, but it completely changes your relationship with mistakes and the fear of failure. One practical tip is to create a positive reinforcement journal. Every day, write down a small victory, something you accomplished, no matter how small it may seem. This trains your brain to focus on progress, not lack. Another powerful practice is to talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. Would you judge or support someone who is trying to improve? Confidence grows when you learn to be your own ally, not your own biggest critic. Ultimately, you are the only person who hears your own thoughts all the time. So how about making that voice a source of courage rather than limitation? The way you treat yourself internally directly affects how you position yourself in the world. Confidence doesn't come from silencing criticism, but from transforming your inner dialogue. And that change is within your reach, one sentence at a time. Fear of failure is one of the biggest confidence thieves out there. It creates invisible but powerful barriers that prevent us from taking action and end up fueling procrastination. Think about the times you put off starting a project or giving up halfway through just because the fear of the end result seemed greater than the will to try. This fear is not a distant enemy of the habit that is strengthened by harsh self-criticism and constant comparison with others, which convinces us that making mistakes is synonymous with incompetence. But this belief is a trap that imprisons your self-confidence. Thomas Edison, the famous inventor of the light bulb, is a classic example of someone who turned failure into fuel for success. He tried thousands of times and failed almost every time before he succeeded. But his perspective was different. Each mistake was a learning experience, a piece of the puzzle that led to a solution. When we understand that failure is not the end, but rather an essential part of the process, our confidence begins to grow because we begin to see setbacks as stepping stones, not holes that swallow us up. This change in perspective is essential for anyone who wants to truly grow. Furthermore, fear of failure is directly linked to procrastination. How many times have you avoided taking action just to avoid facing the possibility of making a mistake? This strategy of doing nothing to avoid failing is a silent poison that erodes self-confidence and increases anxiety. Therefore, the challenge is to reprogram your mind to accept that failure is normal and necessary. Excessive self-criticism only makes the situation worse, as it turns mistakes into definitive judgments. And this doesn't just happen to you. Great names in history, such as Edison, Jobs, and Oprah, failed a lot, but they didn't let it paralyze them. To combat this fear, a good practice is to set small, achievable goals that take you out of your comfort zone, but without scaring you too much. Each small victory is an injection of confidence and a building block in the construction of your courage. The discipline to continue, day after day, even in the face of fear, creates a consistency that drives personal growth. This habit is a practical way of showing yourself that you are capable regardless of external approval. Ultimately, this self-validation is what strengthens true confidence. Ultimately, confidence doesn't mean the absence of fear, but rather the conscious decision to act in spite of it. Facing the fear of failure is an ongoing process that requires patience, self-compassion, and willpower. Each time you choose to try, you become more resilient and prepared for greater challenges. And believe me, this attitude opens doors, opportunities that would never arise if you stood still, waiting for the perfect moment, which, spoiler alert, never comes. So, how about turning fear into your greatest ally on the journey? Seeking approval from others has become an almost automatic reflex, especially in the digital age we live in. Likes, comments, followers, and views have become a kind of thermometer to measure our personal worth. But this incessant search for external validation can turn into a trap that drains our self-confidence. The truth is that recognition from others is fleeting, often superficial, and depends on factors that are beyond our control. On the other hand, genuine confidence comes from a much deeper place, from knowing and accepting your own values, from being clear about who you are and the purpose that guides your journey. Steve Jobs, one of the greatest visionaries in the world of technology, faced severe criticism and misunderstanding when he began building Apple. Many people doubted his ideas and even ridiculed his vision. Still, he remained steadfast, following his intuition and discipline, without depending on the approval of others. It was this internal self-confidence, anchored in solid values and a clear purpose, that made all the difference in his trajectory. This is the confidence we need to cultivate in order to truly grow a confidence that does not waver with the ups and downs of other people's opinions. This dependence on external validation is also directly linked to other habits that undermine self-confidence, such as fear of failure and procrastination. When our sense of worth is tied to the way others see us, any mistake becomes a drama and can paralyze our actions. Thus, we enter a vicious cycle. Fear leads to procrastination, which in turn generates frustration, making the person seek even more approval to compensate for this feeling of inadequacy. The first step to breaking this cycle is to start noticing when you are acting to please others instead of listening to yourself and following your own voice. To strengthen the self-confidence that comes from within, it is important to adopt practices that connect you with your values and real desires. Writing daily about your goals, your principles, and what makes you happy can help a lot. Meditating and setting aside moments of silence to listen to yourself without external interference also makes a huge difference. In addition, seeking mentors or groups that encourage personal growth, but that do not depend on constant approval, creates a healthy environment for you to flourish. Discipline and consistency in your personal journey are the true forces that take you far. Ultimately, authentic confidence is built from the inside out, not the other way around. It doesn't depend on the spotlight, likes, comments, or any kind of momentary applause. It comes from clarity about who you are and a firm commitment to your own growth and evolution. When you nurture this inner strength, the fear of failure diminishes, procrastination fades, and you walk with more ease, authenticity, and courage. Remember, the greatest applause you can receive is your own, recognizing each effort and achievement along the way. Procrastination is more than just putting off tasks. It's a silent blow to self-confidence. When we put off what we need to do, we start to doubt our own potential and feed self-criticism. Edgar Allan Poe, for example, had to fight against procrastination, which affected his productivity and ended up undermining his self-esteem. What many people don't realize is that this habit not only delays results, but also wears down internal dialogue and weakens discipline. Two essential pillars for personal growth. Procrastination is deeply linked to the fear of failure and the need for external validation. When a task seems difficult or the outcome uncertain, it's easy to find excuses not to start, thus avoiding feelings of frustration. The problem is that the more we put off, the more anxiety and feelings of inadequacy grow. It's a cycle that saps our energy and confidence. The solution? Develop small habits that promote consistency and discipline. Even if progress is slow, the important thing is to keep moving forward. A simple strategy to overcome procrastination is to use the Pomodoro technique work in short blocks of 25 minutes, with short breaks. This helps to overcome laziness and avoid mental fatigue. Another tip is to list priorities, focusing on what really matters and eliminating distractions. Over time, these small actions create a domino effect on your self-confidence, as you begin to see that you're capable of achieving what you set out to do. Consistency, in the end, is what builds a solid foundation for success. Additionally, it is important to take care of your internal dialogue and avoid the harsh self-criticism that often accompanies procrastination. Instead of beating yourself up for putting off a task, acknowledge the effort you made to start over. Celebrate each small victory, and remember, personal growth is a marathon, not a sprint. The discipline to get back on track, even after a setback, is what keeps your self-confidence alive and fuels the courage to move forward. Finally, view procrastination not as an unchangeable flaw, but as a habit that can be transformed. Change begins with small actions and conscious choices in your daily life. The more you take action, no matter how small, the more you strengthen your inner confidence and disarm the fear that paralyzes you. It is this consistency, built step by step, that separates those who remain in the realm of excuses from those who actually achieve their goals. So, are you ready to take the first step today? Now that you know the 5 habits that undermine your self-confidence, the big question is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to let these old patterns continue to dominate your thoughts and actions? Or even take control and start building solid self-confidence that comes from the inside out? Remember, the path to personal growth is neither straight nor perfect, but it is through discipline and consistency, even in the face of challenges, that true transformation happens. How about starting right now by identifying which of these habits affects you the most and making a small plan to change it? It could be something as simple as cutting back on social media to avoid comparisons, or writing down 3 daily achievements to strengthen your positive self-talk. Small steps, repeated with intention, have the power to generate profound changes. Your confidence is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. And for those of you who want to continue on this journey of self-knowledge and evolution, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Here you'll find much more content to strengthen your mind, break cycles of self-sabotage, and achieve the success you deserve. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now and make it happen. After all, confidence is not the certainty that everything will work out, but the courage to keep trying no matter what happens.